today it should not just be about the theoretical ideas, but the practical ones as well. And for this, we have prepared a total of 3 masterclasses for you, which are spread across the day. And I'm really excited that we're now starting with the first masterclass of this day with 3 ladies on this stage who will explain how 360 brand consulting works at Douglas Marketing Solution, which specific insights are gathered from the user, and how this translates into campaign setup. And who are the 3 ladies? First of all, there's Aylin Ersan. Aylin is head of retail media at Douglas Marketing Solutions and responsible for brand activation, media, and campaign strategy. The second lady is Lena Marquardt. Lena is a team lead and responsible for the client service and brand consulting at Douglas Marketing Solutions. And both ladies will be joined at the end of the masterclass by Kim Collisy. Kim is a digital manager at Shiseido who developed and implemented a data-driven full funnel campaign with Douglas Marketing Solution. So now I would welcome Aylin Ersan to this stage. Good to see you, good to have you on this stage. And I would say, feel free to start. Much
Thank you,
joy.
Jonas, for the introduction.
You.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our first masterclass, which is dedicated to 360 brand consulting. As Jonas said, my name is Aylin, and I'm super thrilled to show you how we, with our first-party data, can really shape your media strategies. And to do so, you will today learn what we understand behind all this brand consulting topic in the retail media context. And we will demonstrate it, and therefore I'll be super thrilled that I'll be joined by Lena and Kim later on, who will demonstrate how we celebrated Shiseido's birthday together and how we made this from data to insights to action approach and brought that to life. So before I start, I would really like to get you in the mood to really understand and capture what we understand in our vision behind better data and better results. So I would like to invite you to lean back and enjoy a little clip that will perfectly capture this one. Film on. So the purpose or the idea behind retail media is to really connect brands to high-intent shoppers at various stages of their customer journey. And by that, we definitely aim to strengthen your brand and by that, obviously, sell more products. Sounds logical, doesn't it? But still, sometimes it's easier said than done. And why is that? So to answer that question, I would like to think you about a childhood game of yours that you, I think, all know. And this game is called I See Something You Don't See. And why do I bring this childhood game in your memory? Because when I remember planning media campaigns years ago, I was always asking myself, okay, what do I really need to know? What is maybe the piece that I need for my strategy to really sharpen it and tailor it to my needs? So, and this is what actually happens mostly. And We repeatedly, as marketers, are told, as much like the right content, it's key to have the full picture on the customer to create a holistic customer experience. And when we think of this customer experience, this is crucial to win, attract, and retain customers, right? But in reality, sometimes it's really hard to generate data, or even if you have existing data points, these are still often generated in silos. And if they're not in silos, it's maybe hard for you to connect them in a way that you can really address them. So you all have good tools and data at hand, that's for sure. So to name just a few, you obviously have market sales figures, right? So with these, you know how the market works, how your position in this market looks like, what the dynamics are. You have traditional market research, and by traditional market research, you can obviously answer different questions on your consumers, on trends, and whatsoever. Then, of course, you and your media agencies, you know about your media campaign results, and you know what drives sales, what influences the market share, you know who reacts. And last but not least, you create marketing personas, and with these marketing personas, everything is dedicated to that one. So from the product concept to the go-to-market strategy, it's all tailored to this target group. And this, of course, led you to great success. And now we, as Douglas Marketing Solutions, we want to go a step further together with you and offer our retail data, because we really believe that this is the game changer and is the missing puzzle piece to get to this holistic customer view. And by that, we can maybe together shape your media strategies. And yeah, when we think of media, and we heard it already before from Uwe and the other speakers, when it comes to media, it's all about addressing the right target group and generating reach within these right audiences. But how does this target group actually looks like? So, and I brought some rather vivid examples here to demonstrate a little bit how we can add a little flavor to the target group, which is yours. So I brought a couple of examples, as I mentioned. For instance, one assumption from a real client was that they thought that their target group is, quite younger than it was in the reality. Another assumption was that the online purchasing share was already quite high, but we saw it's not. Then another fact, or maybe I directly show two because these both affect the purchasing behavior as well. We could really demonstrate what the basket value typically looks like for a brand, and by that derive specific solutions for that. Another fact was that the clients thought that their products are not purchased often enough during the year where we could really say, no, actually it's quite good. Maybe we can look into other data points. And last but not least, we could also help a brand to identify brand affinities that exist amongst their buyers. Yeah, now, and to give you an idea what we now do with all these informations, and there are many more, I would like to go behind the scenes and show you how we design such a data-driven retail media campaign. So obviously, there must be something that enables us, and it's first-party data. So this is the magic behind our work, and when we again think of the puzzle that I've mentioned, then this is our key source or our key ingredient. And I would really like to emphasize on the fact that first-party data are here to stay. And they will even become more important after the third-party cookie dying. And I would say it's really the most valuable currency in the digital marketing space in the post-cookie era. So I think you're quite curious now about which data points I'm talking. So let me begin. So we have behavioral data, we have transactional data, we have our CRM data and store data. And by the way, did you know that our CRM program has 45 million members across Europe? I think it's quite impressive. And this makes the Beauty Card program the third biggest program after Miles & More Payback. But just to mention how bold our data setups can look like, and this is only the CRM part. So basically what we always do when we start a strategy is to get a full picture on the brand, really dig in deep into the data and receiving a brand audit, And then, of course, derive the right target group, because we know what your consumers have in their basket right now. We know what they've purchased in the past. We can really anticipate, due to their wish lists, what they're going to buy. And in the end, we know what products are preferably bought online and which ones in store. So the next step after deriving or looking deep into the data is that we derive insights from that and then determine the media objectives your brand might have. So I brought an example. So on the left side, you see a comparison between a fragrance brand and the average Douglas fragrance buyer. And just to start with the first fact, so we see that we have to do with a rather older buyership. So what do we learn from this for our media strategy and the activation? First, we can either deliberately target younger consumers to rejuvenate the brand or gain new customers for your brand, or we can definitely also increase this information in the age bracket we target and adjust it to the case that we can address those people who are most likely to buy, because we know the buyership is rather older. Then the next fact is that we see a high female purchasing share, but also in this case, a high male buyer's share compared to our Douglas average buyer. And this leads to the assumption or to our recommendation that we can consider this demographic targeting in our strategy. This is one thing. And more importantly, we can now also adjust the assets that we use to transport our key message, because we know we should not only address females but also males. So another thing that we can really bring into the media strategy. Then, as we learned, the brand is mostly purchased by women. When we then look into the category turnover share, you can see that these women, to 62%, also buy men's products. So what we understand or learn from that is that buyers are not always or not necessarily the users of this product, so we can assume a high gifter share. And this is another information that we put into our media strategy, on the one hand, to really guide you and recommend to you to address these key consumption moments during the year in your media planning, and on the other hand, in the activation, to use our ready-to-use audience gift buyers in your campaigns. Then another fact that we saw is that the repurchase rate of this brand was rather low compared to the average. And this led to the recommendation that we clearly advise on having an advocacy strategy and to really tackle this re-encouragement of the users by using our CRM solutions. And last but not least, it's about the frequency. We also saw that this brand was below the benchmark for the frequency. And here, our clear guideline would be to say, generate demand by being always on visible and bring the users to the point that they are always getting reminded to buy a product. And as soon as they go from the passive customer journey phase into the active ones, they will think of your brand. So to sum it up, in a nutshell, what we offer is an end-to-end solution from briefing to reporting. And we do that always with the credo SMART. So everything what we do needs to be specific, measurable, result-driven, and targetable. So this is what leads us and guides us. And we do it on the one hand to do the strategy and planning for you, and on the other hand, also activate these insights that we gather to activate your brand campaigns. And before I come to my wrap-up, I would really like to address once more that we can address all use cases along the whole customer journey, from awareness to repurchase, with our product solutions. And I invite you to think of your next campaign and contact us if you need some puzzle pieces that need to be filled. And now my 3 key takeaways for you are: retail data doesn't lie. Second, retail data is the missing puzzle piece to be consumer-centric. And third, retail media is the bridge between upper and lower funnel. And now I want to make it even more transparent to you how we work. So I welcome Lena and Kim on stage, and they will show you how we celebrated Shiseido's anniversary campaign together and how we translated our data for their campaign to activate it. Welcome on stage. Stage is yours.
Thank you, Aylin.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome, Kim. It's great to have you on stage with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm also very excited to be part of this masterclass.
Cool. So, Kim, obviously, Shiseido is a very well-known and established brand, but I'm sure you can tell our audience in a little bit more detail about the brand, some background.
Yeah, sure. As already mentioned by Aylin and Lena, we are celebrating our anniversary this year. We are turning 150 years, and that means we started our journey in 1872 in Ginza, Tokyo, with the first Western-styled pharmacy. And we are very proud to be the only prestige skincare brand with such a long history of really 150 years. And in the time of our history, we had many great inventions. For example, hyaluronic. Oh my God,
It's a difficult word.
yeah, it's a difficult word. Acid, and also, we invented, for example, the base of toothpaste and many other great things. And in general, we believe in the power of beauty and also in the possibilities within that field to give value to everyone or increase value to everyone. And nowadays, we are really a multinational company in several countries across the globe. And our product portfolio is not only skincare, but also makeup, body care, and fragrance. And our mission is beauty innovations for a better world.
Great. Thank you, Kim. That was already very interesting. And now let's talk about the campaign we planned in summer this year. So we already know it's Shiseido's birthday. So can you tell us a bit more about the birthday campaign and what was important to you during the planning phase of the campaign?
Yeah, sure. So, as this campaign is the most important brand campaign this year for us, we decided for a 360-degree campaign approach, which means we really wanted to cover every funnel, every channel with a fitting assets and contents, which means we really were visible within print, within PR. We were part of the Venedig Film Festival, and we had several different, let's say, approaches. And one of our main distribution channels is e-retail or retail. So for us, it was clear to also focus there with our 150-year campaign. And we were very happy to partner up and develop something great with you guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Kim, for now, for giving us a short introduction. And now we will move together into the campaign planning phase. So, Kim, we know from your briefing that your goal was to spread the anniversary message for sure, and also strengthen the position of Shiseido on the Douglas platform. And what we did then at Douglas Marketing Solution is what we call a 360 brand consulting. It's called data to insights to action. So what we did is an extensive analysis of our e-com performance data and derive insights from that. And these insights are then derived into concrete action points that we will use for the strategy of the retail media campaign. And we will look into these 3 different stages, data to insights to action, now all together. So let's start with the data and insights part. So for the first step, we started gathering all the relevant data we thought would be relevant for the campaign planning phase. And what we did is we started with analyzing the overall role of Shiseido on the Douglas platform, meaning how big is the brand on the platform and what is the role of the different categories Shiseido operates in. Then we deep dived into the e-com performance data, meaning analyzing the revenue development, the traffic, and also the conversion rate. And last but not least, there's still one puzzle piece missing for a complete picture of Shiseido on Douglas. And it's, of course, the customer. So we developed a profile of the typical Shiseido buyer. So in the next couple of minutes, we will go through this analysis together. And I would like to invite everyone in the audience who is responsible for a brand to think a little bit if you have an idea how these figures might look like for your brand. All right, so let's start. So when we had a look at Shiseido, we quickly found out that skincare is by far the most important category Shiseido operates in. And makeup and fragrance are a lot smaller. That's why we then had a deep dive into the skincare category and the overall skincare to start with. And we found out that Shiseido is on the 5th rank in the category, so already a very strong business partner for Douglas. Then we had a look into the selective skincare market as well, because obviously Shiseido is the premium brand, and we want to know how the performance is compared to other premium brands. And here Shiseido is even on the 3rd rank, so even more important for Douglas in the skincare category. Now let's look together at the revenue development of Shiseido, always in comparison to the overall category and the premium skincare category. So what we saw that in 2021, the performance of Shiseido was in line with the overall category, both premium and selective market. But it loses speed a bit during the Xmas period. And in 2022, finally, Shiseido is then able to catch up again with the overall category. Looking at the traffic development, we see a picture that is a bit fluctuating. And Shiseido's traffic development is quite positive in 2021, as it's ahead of the category, both premium and the total skincare category again. Then in the beginning of 2022, it goes a bit below the benchmark, but in 2022, starting in April, it goes up again and even exceeds the category average. However, the biggest challenge for Shiseido, which we found in the analysis, is the conversion rate. And we see here that it's constantly below the benchmark. One could think that it might be due to the fact that Shiseido is obviously a premium brand and offers products at a higher price point, and therefore the conversion rate is naturally lower. But as it's the same picture in comparison to the premium skincare market, this cannot be the only reason. So now we have looked at the performance data in e-com, but as mentioned, one puzzle piece is still missing, and it's a customer. I'm sure everyone in the audience is as curious now to see how it looks like, and I won't keep you waiting for longer. So let's have a look at it together. On the left-hand side, we see the customer profile of Shiseido, always in comparison to the overall Douglas skincare customer. And we see at a first glance that the Shiseido buyer is around 10 years older than the Douglas average, but it's also much more valuable. So we see a 45% higher average basket value than compared to the Douglas average consumer, and it's also double the frequency. The online turnover share is then on a similar level like the average, but where we also see potential for improvement is the new client share, as it's only half than the category average on Douglas. Looking at the right-hand side, we see in a bit more detail how the age breaks develop. And as we've already seen in the higher average total age of the buyer from Shiseido, we see that the age breaks starting at age 46 are ranking with the highest indices. And the Shiseido buyer is mainly female, which is not very surprising, I would say. Looking at the key categories Shiseido buyers shop, skincare is by far the most important one, but makeup and fragrance are also popular. And right below in the chart, you see the Douglas personas, where we can group the Shiseido buyer in. And we see a lot of enthusiasts and beautynistas, which means that the Shiseido buyer is very valuable, very loyal, which is reflected in the high spending power and high frequency. So, to sum it up, our insights, we have seen that the revenue development of Shiseido is good, but has still some potential room for improvement in this Xmas period. The traffic overall was fluctuating, but also room for improvement during Xmas. And our biggest challenge is the conversion rate, as it's constantly below the category benchmark. We have seen in the customer analysis that the Shiseido buyer is rather older, but also very loyal and valuable. However, the share of new clients is only half of the category average. So Kim, when we have derived those insights back in the planning phase, do you think there was anything surprising or especially interesting for you as a brand?
I would say surprising, not so much as a lot of insights we are already aware of, but it's always great to also get a confirmation again of those insights. It's also great to be reminded right before Christmas is coming to really speed it up in such a competitive environment in the Christmas season. So overall, I would say it's just nice to get like a current view on the insights, but nothing super surprisingly.
All right. Yeah, it's always good if your other figures, from different data sources are a current picture in the end.
Definitely.
So that's a good starting point.
Yes.
All right, then let's continue with our third phase from our data to insight to action framework. It's the action, of course. So how do we translate these insights now into a concrete media strategy? Don't worry, we will do this together now. So, to begin with the action point, let me summarize again the insights we have derived in our second phase. So from your briefing, Kim, we knew that, of course, it's the anniversary campaign. It's very important. So you, of course, wanted to reach buyers who already know the brand and ensure that we spread the anniversary message out there. So that's for sure. And secondly, your goal was to, of course, generate traffic for your brand room and also make sure that we drive users to the brand room that are eager to convert. Then from our analysis, we have found out that the Shiseido buyers are very loyal. We have seen a lot of enthusiasts, high spending power. And for our media strategy, this means that we have to select the right audiences for our targeting that we then translate into on and off-site channels. This means that we select from our ready-to-use audience the gift buyers, the skincare lovers, and also the premium buyers to really address the most relevant audience for the campaign. Regarding the traffic, we have seen a quite fluctuating picture. And there still was room for improvement during Xmas period, but also before that. That's why we integrate Google Shopping ads, as they should catch high-intent shoppers and also drive traffic to the product detail pages. As mentioned before, our biggest challenge was the conversion rate. It was constantly below the category benchmark. And here we implemented our audience ads, which are placed directly in the category pages, and they should influence the purchase decision and generate a conversion rate uplift in the end. And last but not least, we have seen that the new buyer share of Shiseido is only half of the category benchmark. And that's why we would integrate sponsored product ads into the campaign, as they are placed in the category and the product feed and are optimized on ROAS, and therefore attract shoppers that are already browsing within the market and have a high likelihood to convert. And therefore, we would like to generate new buyers for Shiseido. So now let's have a look together how we activate this finding concretely. So as mentioned before, at Shiseido we have a library of ready-to-use audiences, which are designed for multiple use cases. And for Shiseido, we selected the premium buyers, the gift buyers, and the skincare lovers, and enriched this audience segments with a customized segment for Shiseido, which includes all the brand lovers of Shiseido, which we know from our first-party data. These audience segments then can be ranked along the funnel from very targeted and specific, but rather small, to a bit broader, but still relevant. In this way, we make sure to address the most relevant audience segments, but still generate a decent campaign reach. So to group it again into the funnel, and we're starting with the awareness phase. We implemented the social ads. It's the most interactive social channel, and it generates traffic to the brand room or the PDP. And this social ads are then addressed to the most relevant audience segments that we have identified before. In the consideration phase then, we use our audience ads. Audience ads are a conversion rate uplift driver and are also targeted to the mentioned relevant audience segments. And finally, in the purchase phase, we count on Google Shopping ads and search ads, as well as sponsor product ads, which catch the high intent shoppers and are placed contextually with a relevance score. Now, let's look at each phase in a bit more detail, starting again with the awareness phase. So let's start again. In the awareness phase, it's all about generating the interest within the target group and bring qualified traffic to our webshop. So I would like to introduce you to Ella. So Ella is a Shiseido potential customer. We already know a lot about her from our analysis that we've done before. So we know her age, that she's very enthusiastic about skincare and Shiseido, and that she has a high spending power. And we used this information we have about her to translate it into our targeting, which is then directed in our social media campaign on Facebook, on Instagram. And here we address the right target group with the right formats, which is video content mostly. So social video ads, story ads, but also link and carousel ads. In the consideration phase, as mentioned, we implement audience ads, which you see here on the screen. For audience ads, it's very important to keep 3 things in mind. The first thing is, it's a consideration booster. So audience ads have really the power to influence the purchasing decision and place the brand and its products top of mind. And it also then generates a conversion rate uplift. Secondly, it's important to use catchy visuals for audience ads. So make sure that you have the same look and feel for each of those 3 audience ads placements we offer, and that your brand message and key visuals are clearly visible. And the third point is that it's a perfect tool to boost the visibility of your brand also in the long term. And therefore, it's important to change the creatives regularly. For Shiseido, we used a mix of different creatives for the anniversary, but also general skincare creatives. And this is perfect as it enables Shiseido to be visible almost the entire campaign period. And finally, we come to the purchasing phase. Here, it's important that we really tap into the demand and catch those high-intent shoppers. And there are also 3 points that are important to remember. The first thing is, sponsor product ads are a sales booster and a share of voice driver. And they are optimized on the return on ad spend. And this means that it's a perfect tool to efficiently spend your media budget. Secondly, keep in mind that it allows you also to focus on the most important categories you offer. So we can split the campaign structure in different line items and allocate more budget to product categories that are especially important for you. For Shiseido, we allocated most of the budget on skincare. And the third point is, sponsor product ads are as always on tool, but still flexible. So for Shiseido, we can use this as a starting point for a long-term visibility, but still benefit from the possibilities of flexible adjustments and the setup. So that was quite a lot of input, and I'm sure it helps everyone to make it a little bit more tangible. So now, let's have a look at Ella again. We already know her. And we let Ella really take the wheel and show you an exemplary user journey among our campaign. So Ella, she is, as we know, a skincare enthusiast. She's interested in a face cream, but also very open to new innovations and inspirations. So Ella is on Google, and she looks for a Shiseido face cream. Then she clicks on the shopping ad she receives and is directed to the product detail page of the product. But she doesn't buy yet. Ella is open for inspiration. So she browses on Douglas and looks for the makeup category. Maybe she also needs a foundation or a mascara. And she is retargeted with an audience ad of Shiseido while she browses. She doesn't buy still. So she leaves the shop and gets retargeted with a social ad in the meantime, as we have identified her before as interested in Shiseido and in skincare. Then, when she comes back to the store 1 week later, she is retargeted with an audience ad again from Shiseido. And when she browses through the skincare category, she also sees a sponsored product ads. And now she clicks on the sponsored product ad, gets redirected to the product detail page, and finally makes the purchase. Not of only one, but 2 products of Shiseido. So perfect case, I would say. Please keep in mind that each journey step here creates follow-up data, of course, which we can then use for future campaigns. So that was, in a nutshell, the campaign setup of the Shiseido anniversary campaign. And I'm sure that everyone is very curious to see some first results. And of course, we brought them. So let's have a look at them together. All in all, we can call the campaign so far really a success. It has been a tremendous sales uplift of 9%, which is especially noticeable as the overall category saw a negative trend in the same campaign period. We have also managed to turn around the conversion rate and finally saw an increase of 25%. And what is also very good is the sponsored product ads had a high return on ad spend of 11 euros, which is also 24% above the category benchmark. And the return on ad spend for the audience ad was also very good, with almost 3 euros, keeping in mind that audience ads are, of course, a placement that is rather ranked in the upper funnel. So if we generate a positive return on ad spend here, it's also very remarkable. So now I come to the end of this masterclass, and we have shown you in a nutshell how we can create a 360 retail media campaign for you. And if you think what we showed you today was interesting, we would like to invite you to contact us and that we explore the possibilities of retail media together and raise the data treasure we have here. So we would be more than happy to get in touch with you to discuss the possibilities of retail media. So, Kim, thank you very much for being part of this masterclass today. It was a pleasure to have you on stage with me today. And also thank you very much to our audience for listening. See you soon.